Has someone ever looked at you with narrowed eyes, tilted their head slightly, and asked, "Wait, how old are you really?" Perhaps they were surprised, maybe even skeptical, because somehow your age doesn't quite match the energy you carry, the presence you radiate. Most would chalk it up to lucky genes, a good skincare routine, or a healthy lifestyle. And yes, those things matter. But if you look closer, much closer, you'll find something else at work, something beneath the surface. The Stoics would not have measured youth by the softness of skin or the color of hair. For them, the truest measure of vitality was the state of the soul, the clarity of the mind, the stillness of one's character. And perhaps that's what people see when they say you look younger than you are. Perhaps what they're witnessing isn't just preserved flesh, but a preserved spirit. The truth is, time does not age us. Our reactions to time do. Stress, bitterness, resistance, regret. These weigh on us far more than years ever could. The furrowed brows of anxiety, the slouched posture of defeat. These are the real architects of premature aging. So if people often say you look younger than your years, don't just thank your moisturizer. Consider the possibility that you've been living wisely, perhaps even stoically, without knowing it. And if not, if you long to reclaim that youthfulness in mind and body, not through vanity but through virtue, then pay close attention, because the traits we're about to explore aren't just psychological quirks. They are stoic disciplines, lived deeply, quietly, and with great strength. Let's begin. 1. Adaptability. Those who flow, glow. If there is one thing life promises, it is change. Seasons shift. People evolve or disappear. Fortunes rise and fall. And yet, not everyone moves with it. Some resist. They stiffen. They cling to what was, even when it has long since passed. And that resistance shows, not just in their attitude, but in their body, in their furrowed brows, their hardened expressions, their sluggishness. The body follows the mind. A rigid mind becomes a rigid form. You've seen it. The people who look older than they are, not from time but from tension, they're stuck. They resist every shift in routine, every challenge to their beliefs. Life demands flexibility, but they've chosen stubbornness. Now compare them to those who seem almost untouched by age. They adapt, they evolve. They're not frozen in time, they're fluid within it. Their adaptability is a form of wisdom. They've learned to greet change not with fear, but with curiosity, not with control, but with calm. They know that to resist change is to resist nature itself. Adaptability is not the absence of conviction. It is the strength to keep your core intact while adjusting your course. And this flexibility is visible. Those who embrace change move differently. Their eyes reflect ease. Their body speaks of openness. Their energy is neither tense nor tired. It's alive. So if you're someone who welcomes the unknown, who listens more than you lecture, who allows life to teach you, even now, you're not just wise, you're ageless. Because the Stoic truth is this: nothing ages you faster than clinging to what is already gone. 2. Emotional honesty. Express to release. You can read a person's history in their face, not their resume, not their achievements, but their unspoken burdens, the disappointments they never voiced, the anger they swallowed, the tears they never let fall. Over time, suppression leaves a signature in the tightness of a jaw, the crease of a brow, the weariness in the eyes. Emotions, when not expressed, do not vanish. They settle in the body, and with them, time accelerates. To be ruled by emotion is to suffer needlessly, but to suppress it entirely is to rot from within. Emotional honesty, then, is not indulgence. It is wisdom. It is looking at your inner world with clarity and responding, not with denial, but with discipline. You laugh when it's time to laugh. You weep when it's time to weep. You speak truth, not to wound, but to free. Emotional repression is linked to elevated stress hormones, immune dysfunction, and cellular aging. The truth, quite literally, keeps you young. In cultures where people speak freely, embrace vulnerability, and express emotion openly, there is often a noticeable lightness in their presence. They live cleaner on the inside, and it shows on the outside. So if you've made it a practice to speak with honesty, to cry when you need to laugh without holding back, you are not just mentally healthier, you are biologically younger. The Stoic does not deny what is felt. They notice it, name it, and then choose the best response. That choice, to feel, then free, is one of the most powerful acts of self-care. It is not dramatic. It is not loud. It is simply truthful. And truth, unlike repression, does not age you. 3. Energy awareness. Who you surround yourself with shapes you. Not all aging comes from within. Sometimes it comes from proximity, from the emotional climate we live in day after day. Have you ever left a conversation feeling heavier than when it began? Or spent time with someone whose presence seemed to drain the air from the room? This isn't imagination, it's energy. And like weather, you live under its influence, whether you notice or not. The Stoics taught us to guard our inner world with vigilance. Keep your mind free from disturbance, wrote Marcus Aurelius. He didn't mean isolation. He meant discernment, a disciplined awareness of what you allow to enter the gates of your consciousness. People who constantly expose themselves to conflict, complaint, and chaos often begin to show it. Their bodies tighten, their nervous systems remain activated. Over time, the mind adapts to this background noise, and the body suffers for it. But those who are careful with their company, who choose conversations that uplift rather than agitate, tend to carry a lightness that cannot be faked. It's not about perfection, it's about alignment. Studies show that positive social bonds reduce stress, increase longevity, and even slow cellular aging. The people around you are not just influencing your mood, they are shaping your biology. So if you look younger than your age, it may not be a solo effort. It may be that you've cultivated an inner circle that honors peace, one that protects your mental clarity, respects your space, and fuels your spirit. The Stoic does not isolate out of fear. They curate out of wisdom, because the soul, like the skin, responds to its environment, and to live among the right people. That is not luck. That is discipline. 4. Resilience, the mind that refuses to break. What makes some people look untouched by time, even after life has thrown them into the fire? They've lost jobs, relationships, even parts of themselves. Yet when you look at them, there's no sign of the war they've survived. Their secret isn't magic, it's resilience, stoic resilience. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." That strength doesn't just live in your character, it etches itself into your posture, your face, your energy. Consider this: stress, anxiety, and bitterness are not passive forces. They are active, corrosive agents. Every time you relive an argument, dwell in regret, or let fear hijack your thoughts, your body listens, your heartbeat changes, your breathing shortens, Cortisol floods your system. Over time, it erodes you, not just on the inside, but visibly. This is why those who refuse to let go of suffering wear it like a mask. Their faces are furrowed, their shoulders heavy, their movements slower. Time hasn't aged them. Their resistance to time has. The more life breaks them, the more beautiful they become. Not in the shallow sense of beauty, but in the Stoic sense. A kind of physical integrity born from mental sovereignty. So if you carry yourself with lightness after loss, if you've learned how to let go while holding your values firm, if you've chosen wisdom over worry, you already know this secret. Youthfulness is not the absence of hardship. It is the absence of unnecessary suffering. And that kind of strength, quiet, enduring, stoic, keeps you younger than any serum or surgery ever could. 5. Lifelong curiosity. A mind that never grows old. What keeps a mind young? It isn't memory, it isn't speed, it's wonder. There are people in their 60s, 70s, even beyond, whose eyes still light up like children. They ask questions. They read voraciously. They marvel at small things. They are not afraid of what they don't know. They're drawn to it. And this, more than anything, keeps them alive. In contrast, others grow old far too early. Not in years, but in spirit. They stop asking, stop learning, stop growing. Their minds become echo chambers of what they already believe. Their days become predictable, their thoughts stagnant. And slowly, without even noticing, their energy fades. The Stoics knew that the examined life was the only life worth living. They weren't just philosophers, they were seekers. Epictetus urged his students to question everything, to test every assumption. Marcus Aurelius journaled nightly, not to repeat dogma, but to wrestle with his own mind. Curiosity for the Stoic was not a luxury, it was a discipline, and that discipline breathes life into the soul. Modern science agrees. Lifelong learning strengthens neural connections. It staves off cognitive decline. But it does more than that. It lifts your posture. It animates your gestures. It lights your face. Because when your mind is active, your body follows. A curious mind is never heavy. It doesn't carry the burden of certainty. It moves lightly, playfully, attentively. And that lightness, like a flame protected from the wind, shines in everything you do. People who look younger than their years often have this trait in common. They're not trying to stay young, they're trying to stay awake, and in doing so, they achieve both. So if you still find joy in learning, still read with hunger, still sit in awe at something simple, then you're not just preserving your mind, you're preserving your presence. The Stoic doesn't pretend to know everything. On the contrary, they admit their ignorance freely, but they do not stop there. They seek, they explore, they expand, and as long as you're expanding, you are not aging, you are becoming. 6. Purpose and passion, fuel for the soul and the skin. There is a visible difference between someone who is merely surviving and someone who is engaged with life. The former moves through the day out of obligation. Their steps are slow, their voice flat, their posture resigned. They wake up not because they're eager, but because the clock tells them to. Life is a routine, a loop, a quiet erosion of vitality. But then there are those who seem to radiate a kind of ageless fire. They may be older, their hair may be grey, their hands may show time, but their presence is alive. They speak with energy, their eyes reflect direction, their movements are infused with intention. These are the people with purpose, not necessarily fame nor fortune, but a reason to rise. And that reason is what keeps them young. Those who have passion, whether in parenting, art, service, craft, or cause, do not just live longer, they live better, with brightness, with clarity, with that mysterious quality we often call youth. So, if others mistake your age, consider this. Perhaps they're not seeing the absence of years. Perhaps they're seeing the presence of meaning. The Stoic does not seek comfort. They seek contribution. Not fame, but function. Not ease, but alignment. And that alignment, when lived daily, becomes the kind of radiance that time cannot dim. 7th, letting go, the ageless power of emotional lightness. Some people walk as if they are carrying invisible bags, memories of betrayal, the weight of things they should have said, mistakes they replay over and over like a cruel loop. You can see it in their faces, not the lines of time, but the etchings of emotional weight they've never put down. The past, when clung to, does not just live in the mind. It tightens the body, it shortens the breath, it closes the posture, and slowly it ages you, not in years, but in heaviness. The Stoics warned us about this. He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary, Seneca wrote. They understood that regret, resentment, and rehashing the past are a kind of self-imposed suffering. And suffering, especially the kind that serves no present purpose, wears down not just the soul, but the skin. But then there are those who have learned to release, not by pretending it didn't happen, not by dismissing what hurt, but by understanding that to carry it endlessly is to remain stuck in a place life has already left behind. They've chosen peace, not because the past was painless, but because the present is worth showing up for with both hands empty. And that choice is visible. Their faces are open, their shoulders unburdened, their energy is light. They do not carry yesterday into today, and that freedom is mistaken for youth, when really it's wisdom. So if you look younger than your age, it may be because you've chosen not to wear your past on your face. You've chosen to learn from it, not live in it. The Stoic walks forward not because they forget, but because they understand. What is gone, and what remains is life, waiting to be lived without extra weight. That lightness, that's not just how you feel, it's how you look, it's how you carry your years. And it is unmistakably, unshakably timeless. Conclusion: real youth begins inside. What makes someone look younger than their years? Not a face cream, not a filter, not a number on a chart, but a way of being, quietly practiced, deeply chosen, and often misunderstood. Because what people see on the outside, clear eyes, open posture, a light in the presence, they often mistake for luck or genes. But the truth runs deeper. It's the unseen disciplines, the invisible commitments. The Stoic choices made not in moments of peace, but in storms. To carry resilience in the face of adversity. To welcome change rather than fear it. To keep your curiosity lit while others grow dull. To speak emotions, not suppress them. To protect your inner space like sacred ground. To wake each day fueled by a sense of meaning. To lay down the burdens of the past and walk lighter because of it. These are not just psychological traits. They are Stoic virtues. They are the tools of the wise, the ones who understand that while we do not command time, we can command ourselves. The Stoics never promised immortality. They never promised to stop the wrinkles or slow the ticking clock. But they promised something greater, freedom from the kind of inner decay that makes us old before our time. And that freedom, when lived consistently, becomes visible. So if someone tells you that you look younger than your age, accept the compliment, But no, it is not simply your skin they admire. It's your spirit, your ability to stay soft, open and alert in a world that hardens most. And if you've never been told that, but you want to embody it, it is never too late. Not to erase years, but to stop adding weight. Not to chase youth, but to practice it. To live in such a way that your appearance becomes a reflection of your inner peace. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Think clearly, choose wisely, live lightly, because in the end, youth is not how long you've been alive. It's how little you've let life take from you that wasn't yours to lose.